What is up, YouTube? Anyway, this is gonna be part 2. Hopefully I can cram all this information to part 2. If not, whatever's left will most likely be in part 3. But anyway, back at the DEO, Kara tells Alex and John that Bizarro isn't a gynoid. I don't know what a gynoid is. I overheard that word, but I don't know the technical terms for it. But she basically says, you know, Bizarro is not like an android. It's not a gynoid, but it's genetically similar, suggesting like the only way to deal with Bizarro, considering if Bizarro does have her DNA, the only way to deal with her is by using the same weakness she has, which is kryptonite. And which is a smart plan. I mean, if this is indeed like a clone of Supergirl, meaning obviously they might have the same weaknesses, right? And what weakness do most, if not all, Kryptonians have is kryptonite. And basically later on, you know, Wynn would later discover there is a kidnapping at Prometheus Labs, and that basically what this means is that earlier in the episode, basically they wanted to find out if there were any people missing, particularly women, because Hank said that when he saw that girl, she was comatose. So they were looking for a search for any woman that has the same height, build, and possibly hair as Kara that, you know, was comatose and is missing, and maybe they could figure out who Bizarro really is. And Wynn discovers that there was a kidnapping at Prometheus Labs and 6 people were missing, including the comatose woman that is actually Bizarro. And apparently Bizarro, this is a tiny note, but apparently here in this show, Bizarro got her name literally by Kat, because she's like, you know what, I named Supergirl, it's only fair that I should name her evil twin. Which I thought was pretty funny, which is kind of true. In this show, Kat was the one that pretty much named Kara Supergirl. So, and technically Bizarro is kind of like an evil clone, in her eyes, an evil clone of Supergirl, so she named the evil clone Bizarro. Anyway, Alex has a confrontation with Maxwell Lord and discovered that he managed to use Kara's DNA from apparently Red Tornado's broken arm. If you guys remember, Kara did have a confrontation with Red Tornado, which ended with Red Tornado's broken arm, and apparently some of Kara's DNA got on the arm. Or, I don't know how it got on the arm, exactly. Did it just get on the arm, or did he like grab a piece of her DNA? I don't know, but apparently Kara's DNA was on Red Tornado's broken arm, and Max got the arm, and the goal was to help humanity survive and be stronger than the aliens, which is why he basically created Bizarro. And Max pretty much warns Alex that if she tries to stop him, he'll make her and her family's life even worse. And when Alex tells Kara about Max and Bizarro, Alex believes that using kryptonite will be the best defense against Bizarro because it's the same DNA as Kara, and Kara is weak against kryptonite. But Kara's against it because Kara believes, you know, this poor girl basically was violated in a way by Maxwell Lord. She was in a coma, and while she was in a coma, Max kidnapped her, did experiments on her, and is basically brainwashing her. And that's why she's like, please do not use kryptonite on this poor girl. Maxwell Lord is the real enemy. We should be going after her. But Alex tells Kara that the DEO can't do anything against Maxwell Lord because he's like a public figure, right? And the DEO is pretty much like an invisible group to the world. But anyway, Kara gets a text from Adam to have a second date, and she's reluctant, so Alex, you know, suggests, go, have a life, we'll deal with all this. And later that evening, James tries to talk to Wynn into how to talk to Kara. And, I thought there was a cute little bonding thing between Jimmy and Wynn. I forgot exactly what the conversation was, because I'm not saying it wasn't, like, important, but it was, like, small little detail from the major thing. But anyway, during the dinner with Kara and Adam, Kara explains to Adam about her life, which is basically, she was telling the truth, you know, she said her parents were dead and everything like that, and she felt all alone, and doing all that, they connect even more, and they actually have their first kiss, and during all that, like, directly after the kiss, all of a sudden, whoosh, Kara gets kidnapped by, obviously, Bizarro, who shows up and takes Kara, and they two end up fighting each other at the park, and their powers are matching each other, and it seems like a stalemate, right? And, the DEO manages to arrive, and they ready to dart Bizarro. Kara's all like, no, please don't, but they still do it anyways, and as they do hit Bizarro with the kryptonite, her face gets all degenerated and mutated, making her kind of look like a zombie kind of look, you know what I mean? And her skin becomes cracked and grayish, and her eyes become all shitload black all over again. She literally does look like a zombie. Literally. She either looks like a zombie, or I don't know what other thing I could describe to her look, because to me she just looks like a zombie when she gets hit by kryptonite. And she of course, this is how, apparently in the show, this is how Bizarro gets her iconic, you know, zombie-like face, which is apparently getting shot by kryptonite darts. And because she gets shot, she completely hates Supergirl, and sees Supergirl as an evil person, just flies off, right? And, Kara tells Alex that Maxwell knew that Kara was Supergirl because he sent Bizarro after Kara, as Kara, not as Supergirl. Literally, Bizarro kidnaps Kara as herself, not as Supergirl. So that means Max obviously knew that Kara is Supergirl, right? And she also learns that the kryptonite made Bizarro not weak, but apparently more powerful than ever. Which kind of makes sense, because if you think about it, Bizarro in general is basically the mirror image of, well, in the comics, Bizarro was the mirror image of Superman. Here, this Bizarro is the mirror image of Kara. Kara had heat vision, and then apparently, like, Bizarro had cold vision or something like that, and then Kara has, like, freeze breath, and apparently Bizarro has heat breath. So it makes you wonder, like, if Kara is weak against kryptonite, obviously it'll be the mirror image, which would be Bizarro getting stronger from kryptonite. I'm just saying. And because of that, it prompts Hank to look for an anti-kryptonite mineral to stop Bizarro. Which makes me think, are we going to see an appearance of a different kryptonite besides the typical green one, right? Also, Kara, you know, she has to explain herself to Adam. You know, she got kidnapped and all that stuff, and, you know, Kat actually seems worried because she shows up at work, and they're like, oh my god, Kara, where have you been? We're gonna, like, call people, you know what I mean? And she talks to Adam alone and tells him that she wants to break up with him because, you know, apparently things are complicated, right? I'm only guessing she wanted to break up with him because, you know, she doesn't want him to get hurt, and, you know, the only people that know about her identity, of course, is Hank, of course her sister Alex, and then there's Jimmy and Wynn, but no one else knows her identity, and she wants to keep it that way because she wants to keep less people in this so not many people get hurt. And I understand why she broke up with Adam, because she really does like him, she really does. But one, she doesn't want to put his life in danger, and, you know, you put Adam's life in danger, look what's going to happen to Kat. If her son gets hurt, or worse, dies, Kat will be devastated. It's her firstborn child, right? And Kara really, obviously, genuinely cares about Adam to the point where she doesn't want him to get hurt. And then there's also the fact that, you know, she probably doesn't think it's fair, you know, her always taking off, like saving the world as Supergirl and taking off during dates and stuff like that. She probably doesn't think it's fair to Adam, so that's why I don't really blame her on breaking up with him. You know, despite the fact that he does not want to break up and says, you know, give a chance, she apologizes saying, I want to break up, and she straight up leaves. And I kind of, like, I feel for her on that, you know, because one, she doesn't want to put his life in danger, and two, she doesn't want to be unfair to him because she's always going to be around doing Supergirl stuff and she can't always be around for him. You know what I mean? Especially since he doesn't know. But anyway, back at Laura Technologies, a very deranged Max pretty much tells Bizarro that, basically manipulates her even more, like, look what Supergirl did to you. She's made you all ugly and decrepit. You're ugly, you're hideous, and that's all Supergirl's fault. And now Bizarro, she's wearing like a dark uniform with a reverse chest emblem. And he basically says, get your revenge on Supergirl because she did that to you. Take away the people she loves. And so Bizarro, after Bizarro leaves, Alex and the DEO manage to show up to arrest Max, who vows to expose Kara, but Alex tells him that he won't be able to and is taken to the secret location within the DEO. And while that's all happening, Kara's all upset, probably because, you know, she's trying to deal with Bizarro, she's dealing with Max, and then, you know, breaking Adam's heart at the same time. When she broke Adam's heart, Kat started treating her differently as well. Like, she's somewhat getting a little more colder toward her because of it. So she's dealing with all that, and when Jimmy tries to console her, she basically turns down that consoling and tells him, you know, leave me alone, right? And after all that, Kara, like, leaves Jimmy alone. There's this moment where someone shows up behind Jimmy, and Jimmy automatically thinks it's, you know, Kara and Supergirl form, and it turns out to be Bizarro, and kidnaps Jimmy and, you know, has him in a warehouse and, like, tied up to a forklift, right? And Bizarro actually reveals to Jimmy that she's very aware that Kara and Jimmy have feelings for each other, mainly because, you know, she told Jimmy, I know you love Supergirl and Supergirl loves you. You want to know how I know? In her words, she's basically saying, I know because Supergirl and I are connected. We're like this, right? It's like I could feel everything she feels. And during that whole ordeal, Jimmy's trying to convince Bizarro that Supergirl is a good person because she cares about people. And at the same time, he actually confesses that he is indeed actually in love with Kara. And that was like, I swear to God, angels were singing in my ears. I was like, oh my God, he actually admitted. I just wish that, like, Kara was there to hear it, or, like, Kara was nearby and she used her super hearing to hear it, but apparently she didn't hear that shit. And I was like, damn it, man. The one time. But, like, Jimmy manages to use his watch to contact Supergirl, and Bizarro, seeing that, uses her heat breath to try to stop him. But thankfully, the signal does reach Kara and the DEO just in time to pretty much confront Bizarro, and it pretty much escalates in a battle, with Alex and Hank managing to subdue Bizarro with a special kind of kryptonite dart. We actually got to see the first appearance, in this show anyway, the first appearance of the blue kryptonite, and they use it as a dart, and it manages to subdue Bizarro before, you know, she can finish off Kara, because Kara was, you know, trapped by Bizarro before getting shot by the blue kryptonite. I realize I am running out of time, so there will be, unfortunately, a part 3, and it probably will be short because there's not much information. So I'll see you guys in part 3. I really did not want to have a part 3, but it's gonna happen, so, BoTube.